Mm.
Yeah.
You know, what made you retire from trucking last year, sir?
Well, I got so old and nobody wanted me and I couldn't get no insurance.
Really?
Insurance companies, well, you can get it, but it costs you $15,000 a year extra, and ain't nobody gonna pay no $15,000 for me to drive a truck.
So on your resume right now, you would have 61 years experience, and nobody will hire you.
Right.
And that's the only reason you quit.
That's it.
Hanging out, you know, we out here in Nacogdoches, Texas, hanging out for a great charity event, Old Town Rig Down. And so I met a friend today, and so he told me he only has a little bit over 61 years experience.
61 years, yeah.
Really?
61 years. I started in 62, retired about a year ago.
Just a year ago, sir. So tell me a little bit about that old school back in the day, the phone book days, the Atlas maps. Tell me a little bit about that, sir, and how that's changed from today.
We didn't have an Atlas map, and you know, but when I started out driving in 1962, I drove a B61 Mac with a 170 Thermodyne motor in it. It had a triplex in it, didn't have no air conditioner, didn't have no power steering, didn't have no air ride, had a Dayton wheels on it, and had a heater in it, no air conditioner, no power steering, but you get up there in North Dakota somewhere nearly freeze to death because you'd have to cover the front end up, and you'd have on all your clothes and be driving with one hand, scraping ice off the windshield on the inside with the other. It was pretty rough back in them days.
I know that suspension wasn't that great, sir, right?
Yeah. But anyway, that's about. But you know, trucks nowadays are drive by themselves. You know, it's a big change in trucking. You know,
What's the biggest change you think about trucking?
well, one thing about trucking is everybody had tubeless tires back then, and tires with tubes in them. Now they got tubeless tires, and you never could go nowhere back when I started driving a truck without having a flat, and you couldn't find no truck stops to change them. You carried a jack and lug wrench with you, and you had to change your own tire on the side of the road. You know,
Man, that's, tell me a little bit about the newer driver now, some that they wouldn't know. That's kind of like an interesting fact about the way trucking was back then. What's a big one that's you think they wouldn't know about now?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this. Back a long time ago, you stopped at a truck stop. They clean your windshield inside and out, sweep your floorboard out, bump your tires, and give you a free lunch and ask you to come back. And you remembered your name. Nowadays, you stop at a truck stop. They don't know who you are and don't know your name and hope the hell you don't come back.
So back then, people, or like now, it feels like everybody loves the cab overs now. But was cab over the popular truck back then?
Not when I started driving, but in later on years, in the 70s on up, I guess they got to be real popular because there wasn't nothing but cab overs. I wore out 3 of them. I drove for a company called Poly Trucking out of Grand Prairie, Texas, and I got 3 brand new cab overs, single cabs, with a Cummins engines in them. They was nice trucks, but I don't know. You could tell the driver that drove a cab over because his britches leg would be wore out right here.
What is that? What it is right there?
Because they'd be rubbing up against the gear shelf.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's I'm just thinking out loud, asking fun questions. What's a trucking company that was really popular back then that you thought would still be around now?
Well, Willie Shaw, he was big back then, but he's gone. Ain't no Willie Shaw no more.
And where were they out of?
They was out of Elm Springs, Arkansas. When I started driving a truck, you could walk through the woods anywhere, and there'd be a Willie Shaw truck, just like for a while there was J.B. Hunt. Everywhere you went was a J.B. Hunt. Now you see less and less of J.B. Hunt. But people talk about J.B. Hunt, Snyder, and all them companies, but they say what they want to about them, but they don't want to get the price of trucking up. I used to drive a truck for 10 cents a mile. And that
10 cents a mile?
10 cents a mile, and I'd go to Florida and back out of Texas, and I'd have $168 coming. Now you go down there and back, you'll have $2,000 to bring home.
I heard that. Tell me about the fuel prices back then versus now. How much was that?
Well, I could get all the diesel fuel I wanted for 15, 16, 9.
Really?
Yeah. And now you can't get it for $5 or $6. You're lucky.
Wow.
All the time.
You
But
know.
back then, they gave you discounts in truck stops too. They give you, you could pad the ticket, get you put a tar flat or a gallon of oil or quart of oil or whatever, and get you. People do that, but them old companies got wise to that. They'd make you, if you had a flat, they'd make you put a receipt in the tar, and when you got in, the boss man thought you was stealing from him. They'd have the guy to break the tar down and get the receipt out of it.
I love that. What was your favorite truck stop back then?
Well, the favorite truck stop was Kelly's down there in Shreveport. Mr. Kelly was a good man. He'd come in there and he'd buy you lunch. That was back.
What state was that? Freeport what?
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Kelly would come in there and he'd hang around there and talk to truck drivers. He didn't, everybody was a friend of his. A lot of times he'd see you in there, he'd buy you breakfast for you.
Love that. I love that.
Like I said, it was the first $1 million truck stop that I can remember. And that one up there at Racine, Virginia,
Yes, sir.
that was but they've sold out now to the Moon family, I think. Yeah.
What made you retire from trucking last year, sir?
Well, I got so old and nobody wanted me and I couldn't get no insurance.
Really?
Insurance companies, well, you can get it, but it costs you $15,000 a year extra, and ain't nobody gonna pay no $15,000 for me to drive a truck.
So on your resume right now, you would have 61 years experience, and nobody will hire you.
Right.
And that's the only reason you quit.
That's it.
I mean, you love trucking, sir?
Yeah, I'd get one to leave town today if I could, but ain't nobody gonna harm me. I tried one time since I retired, and I got turned down, so I ain't tried since. I just went ahead and, retired. But yeah, I love trucking. I wouldn't do nothing else. If I had 1,000 of them, I'd still drive one myself. I mean, that's all I ever want to do. I'm a chicken hauler. I like to haul chickens out west, produce back.
Yes, sir. Without chicken, there would be no America. That's the cheapest, most affordable meat that you can eat, right?
Yep. That's all I ever do is haul cows and produce, and I hauled some mail too for a while.
Yeah. But hey, who knows? I mean, maybe after this interview, maybe we get someone that works for a chicken hauling company to give you a chance, sir. 61 years experience got to mean something.
Yeah. Well, I really love it. Like I said, I can still do it, but I can just drive. I can't do no. I get around like I'm a drunk man. I wobble around and all that, but I can sit on my rear end and drive from just as good as I ever could. You know what I mean?
Well, the big difference I see is a lot of drivers they miss the beat on this. Is I feel like they don't have the pride that you have in trucking, sir. Like, I mean, you're just hanging out here today, and just being around these trucks today. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I love it. I'd give anything in the world to drive a truck like that, but it ain't gonna happen, But I can't believe the kind of trucks they have nowadays. I drove some nice trucks. I own one. I owned a '96 Peterbilt, but it wasn't nothing compared to these trucks. I had my own truck, my own authority, and everything,
Well, who knows? I mean, I'm gonna get your phone number after this. We're gonna let the world know this is gonna be a great video. 61-year-old driving experience, looking for a chance. We'll truck for 10 cents a mile. No, I'm just kidding. You ain't gonna do it. You better make money now.
Well, I put on Facebook one day, 83-year-old guy looking for a job. We'll buy fuel.
We'll buy fuel.
Nobody ever called me.
Man, so you're willing to buy the fuel now just to drive the truck?
I couldn't do that, but I could work cheaper than anybody else.
You know,
I just like to have a job, running with somebody, that needs some help. Some old guy like me that needs some help, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
I could do that. I mean, if he was a nice guy,
Tell me this about now just life in general. What's the best advice for? Because they say trucking is not an easy life. The ones that are over the road. What's the best advice for the young guys and gals that are in this, maybe to like live life a little bit more, or you know where I'm trying to get at?
Well, you gotta love it to do it. If you didn't, I was born in it. All my kinfolks is truck drivers, and I growed up my daddy had 2 trucks, and I don't know. I just always been around trucks. I don't know nothing else. I'm just like a convict that's been in prison all of his life, and one day he gets out and he don't know what to do with himself, so he wants to go back to prison. I'm the same way. I don't know but 2 things to talk about, and that's one is trucks, and the other is women. So I'm so ugly, ain't no woman wants to do nothing with me, have nothing to do with me. So
I don't know about that.
I can't drive a truck, so I'm pretty much ain't got nothing to talk about.
With 61 years experience, sir, anything you'd like to let all the new drivers know in general? Anything that might be able just to help their life in general?
Well, just get in there and drive, do the best you can, try to be safe about it. Don't try to overdo yourself. That's the main thing. When God give you a little bit of sense to use it, when you get tired, lay down. No matter what the man's telling you, if you're tired and you want to rest, pull over and rest. Get you a little power nap, sleep an hour or 2. A phone call is the most important thing. You can get away with a lot of stuff being late or whatever they want to call it. But, if you just make a phone call and pull over and sleep a couple hours and get up and go on and stay out of them truck stops and don't be up playing video games and chasing the girls and taking dope and all that stuff. Be a truck driver. Don't be whatever you want to be, but just dedicate your life to trucking and you'll be all right.
I love that. No, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Any last words for this little interview, this legendary interview, sir?
No, just keep on trucking and let the black smoke roll, because the world can't do without you. Which the old saying goes, whatever you do, whatever you got or whatever you do, a truck brought it. But be nice to them, but also truck drivers need to be nice to the public. Have a friendly attitude. You don't go around like you're mad at the world,
Mm-hmm. No, I love
That's
that.
about all I can say about it.
I appreciate you. No, thank you, sir. No, really appreciate you. That was great. I mean, if it caught any of it, if it didn't, we'll just do a part 2. I mean,